We moved here 8 years ago, and when we bought the house, the girls were 5, 2, and this one was still in the tummy. Life before we bought our house, I would have to honestly say we were getting by. You know, we had a nice little apartment, jobs, but not jobs that were career-based. I wasn't a college graduate yet, just kind of just going through the motions and living life. So prior to this, we really didn't have what I would say maybe like adult goals. It was more or less just how do we get from day to day. I heard about Habitat through my mom. She pushed me for quite a bit of time before I actually felt like it was something that I could do. I would say that I waited maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years, before I actually came and got an application. I waited because I was afraid. I was afraid that it was outside of my reach. At the time, my view of what I could obtain was very small, and sometimes when you're afraid, you set goals that you know that are obtainable, and when you see something that's higher, you don't want to reach for it because it may or may not be something that you can reach. So I set my bar at what I knew I could reach and didn't think that it was obtainable at the time. Before buying this house, I would say my confidence was definitely a lot lower. This was a stepping stone to change my outlook on a lot of things. When I found out that I was approved for the house, it was like, oh snap, this is real. I set, you know, higher goals and things I wanted to obtain, and started thinking about college and started thinking about my kids' future and what kind of mom do I want to be? What kind of career do I want to have? I didn't want to just be a homeowner and still be at McDonald's forever, and you know, I wanted something more. So that for me was like, it's real now, let's get this done. Working for Sweat Equity was actually like, it was adrenaline for me. Like, it was a rush. Honestly, I'm a doer and I like to do handy stuff. So I was game for that. Like, give me that hammer, give me that nail. It was hard work, but it was fun. And it was like a learning experience, you know? It was something that I was proud to say that I was able to do. While we were doing our Sweat Equity, we made friends with lots of families. And surprisingly, I found that there were a lot of people just like me. So a lot of people who thought that they couldn't do this or that and finally decided that they wanted to do better, and this was their starting point. So in the beginning, I felt very alone and very like, man, you know, how do I explain this to people? It's just, you know, but once you're in there, it's kind of like your own small community and everybody's reaching for a similar goal. Their family situation and dynamic might be slightly different, but we're all striving to get our first home. And it was like helping each other out. We were lifting each other up. It was never a tear down experience for anyone. It was very, very humbling and rewarding. If I could think of a memory that comes to mind the most, was a day that we were working in the rain. At first, I was like, this is ridiculous, let's go home. And another volunteer said to me, but what if it was your house? And that made it so much realer to me that this is somebody's home. So you know what, rain and all, you pick up that hammer, and we kept going because this was somebody's home and they deserved for us to give it our best and not just have a poor attitude and be like, oh, I'm not doing this, I'm leaving. I would have to say I feel like the house did definitely make me become a better person because I was proud. I was proud to say that I owned something. I was proud to be able to drop my kids off to school or have them get picked up in front of our home. And I was proud to do yard work, and I did a lot of yard work. It took a long time for me to find out, you know, what I like. Do I like flowers or do I like shrubs? Do I like bricks or do I like rocks? But I had a home to experiment and figure out what I liked. After buying our home and after taking care of Aaliyah, she was really sick. When she got to school age and got better, I didn't need to be a homemaker anymore. So it's like, okay, what am I gonna do with my life now? I did what I was supposed to do as a mom to take care of this little one. So now what can I do to better provide for these 3 girls? They have to have a future. So I spoke with my husband. I said, you know, hey, I wanna go back to school. and he worked 2 jobs while the kids went to daycare and to school, and I went to school and I got my degree. 2 days after graduation, I got hired at Unity Point Clinic. That was one of my biggest moments, having them in the audience when I walked across the stage. And I'm back in college again now for my BSN, so it just allowed me to see that the limitations that were set for me were limitations that I set. And even now, I like them to see me work hard and do homework. And when it comes to chores and things around the house, everybody has a job to do. Everyone has to do their part. I want them to understand that you may get off track, but you know, you can always turn around. You just have to put in the work to do it. So buying the house definitely was the catalyst or the starting point for me to say, you know what, I'm a homeowner. And I was 23, and I was proud to be a 23-year-old homeowner. You know, these are our little princesses, and we want to make sure that they have a good foot in life. And to start that out, we have to create an environment. But in order to create an environment, you have to have a place to set the tone and to create the environment to give them what they need. It's important to tuck them in at night, and it's important to read the bedtime stories, and it's important to be able to wipe the tears and just give them that positive, you know, a warm place to come to. Walk in the door and, Mom, I smell you cooking, you know, is that my favorite meal? Those type of things they'll remember for a long time, and they're gonna know, like, one day when they're grown and gone and they have their kids, they're gonna say, this is where Grandma used to make her soup, or Grandma used to make her cookies, and we will watch Scooby-Doo. We're building our memories and our family. We're writing our story, we're writing our book. It definitely started with us having a place to do it in.